I mean this in the nicest possible way, Mac. You look like someone that for Halloween at one point in your life went as a gynecologist or a federal body inspector. I'm sorry, a
Okay.
female body inspector.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I never
FBI.
did. I never
Really?
did. Yeah, no, no. I don't. First of all, I'm. You know me, Goo. Almost every Halloween costume I've ever worn in my adult life has all been as convenient as could possibly be. I'm not wearing
Wilford.
some outlandish type of shit. The most outlandish thing I wore, I was a kissing booth my junior year of college, but I didn't make it. Some girl volunteered. She had the idea. She said, "If I make this, will you wear it?" I said, "Absolutely, no doubt about it." So that worked out pretty well.
The kissing booth is not that far off from the female body inspector though, right?
It's more creative though. The kissing booth. No, I wasn't my creativity. I just benefited from it.
One goo, three yeah. Goo. Jaws three. Goo. King of Queens. Goo. Meryl Streep. Goo. Entertainment.
Goo.
That took so long. That took so long for you to put on. I'm Mac. Goo.
And we are the Mac and Goo program. We're friends.
We are Venom. If you are listening to this and don't have access to anything with a screen on it, Goo just spent about 35 seconds struggling with some sort of sweatshirt deal.
Spandex. It's a full spandex suit.
Okay, yep, and he had a Venom face there for a second and did an A+ Tom Hardy Venom impression.
A Venom, a symbiote, just jumped into my skeleton and turned me into a Venom.
Now, here's a good question for
Yeah.
you and the folks at home. If you had to be any color symbiote, which color would you be?
I mean, black is the sleekest. Maybe red.
I didn't mind like the grayish looking one that we maybe or maybe didn't see in this movie. Go, I'm a sucker for gray.
I know when I do Mario Kart and I pick Yoshi, I always do black and white Yoshi. Nice little
Okay.
Oreo
All right.
Yoshi.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I guess black is probably the most popular answer, but maybe red for Carnage too. Who knows? There. Yeah.
Also, I had that costume. I used to go as a character for my nephew's birthday every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then for his 7th or 8th birthday, when I wore the Venom costume, him and his friends hit me with hockey sticks. And that was the end of that chapter.
You got punked.
It was all a big Ashton Kutcher prank.
Goo!
Yes.
Today we are discussing the latest and not so greatest entry into the Sony Spider-Verse, the Venomverse, whatever you'd like to call this movie universe. Of course, we are discussing Venom: The Last Dance, which I must say is a terrible name for this movie. I really didn't care for it. And they also leaned into that a couple times, which I didn't care for.
How did they get none of the Chicago Bulls in this movie? Like at least one nod, right?
You should have been able to get Rodman in Vegas.
I was going to say, they're in Vegas for a scene or two of this movie. How is Rodman not in the background? Or, okay, what's the character's name he dances with her in Vegas?
Mrs. Chen.
Mrs. Chen? Rodman should have walked out of the bedroom half naked as if they had just made love.
That scene alone would have bumped this movie up about 5 dogs.
All right, so we just fixed it. Do you think they should reshoot it and then re-release it?
Go!
Yeah.
This movie made $175 million worldwide at the box office opening weekend. 51 million domestically, which isn't great comparatively, but still pretty good in general. And this movie was made on a budget of 120 million, which is pretty low when you're comparing it to a lot of recent superhero comic book movies. So this movie is going to end up making money in a decent amount. The first movie made 856 million worldwide. Very, very successful. The second one did not do nearly as well, 506 million worldwide, but still made money.
But that was also Venom 2 was one of the first big theater movies out of the pandemic. So Venom 2 is the reason why Top Gun 2 was so good.
There you go. There you go. This movie is unfortunately PG-13 like the first two.
Yeah.
It is an action, adventure, sci-fi, and thriller. And also the subgenres we get here, Goo. Alien invasion, kaiju, road trip, and superhero. How about that?
Yeah, it's an alien buddy movie.
Yeah. Alien buddy cop. That's
Also, you could tell from the get-go that this movie wanted to be rated R. This movie wanted to be Deadpool, but it couldn't do it.
I don't know if they had the makers of the movie capable of making this a proper R, but this is a sentiment we've echoed through the first two movies. A Venom movie should be an R-rated movie. Just simple as that. If not even for the jokies, just the blood, the gore, like that type of shit, we should have an R rating. It would just be cooler. Goo, on Roddy T's, this has 38% from
If
the
it was
critics.
rated R, do you think Tom Hardy would shave swears into his head?
Probably, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Big C-bomb on the side of his head there.
Oh, that'd be tough for the commercials.
38% from the critics, 80% from the audience. Virtually identical to the first movie, which had 30 and 80%. The second movie somehow scored higher than both of these two. And the second movie, Goo, before we get into spoilers here, I think is definitively the worst movie of the three.
And I think that is all on the back of Woody Harrelson.
Fair enough. That is 57% and 84%. So maybe that speaks to the thirst for that movie at the time and place.
It saved movies. Pandemic. It saved cinemas. I get it.
On Metacritic, this has a 41. The first had a 35. Carnage had a 49. I don't know where people are coming off with that second movie. It's really.
But I do understand why people do not like this one.
Sure, I think we understand why people. Well, first of all, the audience has liked all three movies. I think we wholeheartedly understand why the critics haven't really liked any of these.
A good portion of this movie is half-assed, generic gobbledygook, where it just looks like slime all over the screen.
You're not entirely wrong. I don't disagree with that. Goo, speaking of the makers of this movie, this is written by Kelly Marcel and Tom Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hardy's only writing credits are this and Let There Be Carnage. Kelly Marcel, Goo, has writing credits on Saving Mr. Banks, 50 Shades of Grey, and then the first two Venom movies. This is directed by Kelly Marcel.
Great portfolio. I'll tell you that much.
Very bizarre.
Yeah.
This is her first ever directing credit. You're asking maybe where did she come from? I got a nice little fun fact for you here, Goo.
I'm all ears.
She is a co-artistic director of the Bad Dog Theater Company, founded in 2010 alongside Tom Hardy and Brett C. Leonard. So she's been a long time Tom Hardy friend. So that's how she got to where she's at for this movie. But a nice little fun fact about her, Goo, separate from where she came from.
All ears. Go ahead.
This is my favorite fun fact of the whole podcast. So after this, you can shut us off. Kelly is primarily a writer for film and television, but she started her career in musical theater with the UK version of Debbie Does Dallas, the musical.
You know what?
I like Kelly Marcel based off that one fact and that one fact alone.
Kelly Marcel, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Goose, synopsis of Venom: The Last Dance. Eddie and Venom, on the run, face pursuit from both worlds. As circumstances tighten, they're compelled to make a heart-wrenching choice that could mark the end of their symbiotic partnership.
Yeah, all right.
I guess that's actually pretty accurate.
After watching this movie, I also said to myself, the trailers really didn't tell us anything. It was just, it's Venom, it's Tom Hardy, and they're going to jump into animals.
It was just Venom with jazz fingers.
Kinda.
Here he is.
Yeah, well, he was in Vegas.
I hated that fucking scene. This movie stars Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, and through three movies, other than Michelle Williams in the first movie, I would say that Tom Hardy is the only bright spot in this trilogy.
He's still sweating. He's still mumbling.
Trying.
He's still not that coherent, but you know what? I will say this, is that Eddie Brock, Venom, the 20 to 25 minutes of them just doing a buddy road trip, if you gave me a full movie of that, I might have enjoyed it.
Wasn't for me.
That was fun and silly. It was
Fair
lighthearted.
Chiwetel Ejiofor as General Rex Strickland. We've seen him a number of times now over the years in comic book movies. He's fine in this. He does what's called
He's
of
a
him.
generic army leader.
Yeah, angry general in the army. He played it to a T.
He took 5 of my men.
Juno Temple, also not her first time in a comic book movie. She's in The Dark Knight. We all remember her in The Dark Knight, of
Right.
course.
Yeah.
She plays Dr. Teddy Payne in this. Rhys Ifans is in this as Martin. He plays the father of a road tripping family. And I think this is bizarre casting, considering he plays the Lizard in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe. And there's still a chance that this Venom verse operates in that Garfield universe, and that's really, really bizarre casting.
Hear me out. None of this matters.
I mean, that's probably true. Stephen Graham is back as Detective Mulligan. Peggy Lou is back as Mrs. Chen. Clark Bacco plays Sadie. She's the scientist with the Christmas tree. Alana Eubank as Nova. She's the mother to Rhys Ifans' father. You would know her as the gross waitress from Waiting, or as Sydney Sweeney's mother in Euphoria. Cristo Fernandez is back. He's Danny Rojas, as the bartender in the tropical bar that we see Eddie Brock in. And of course, this movie introduces Null, who is green screened by Andy Serkis, because apparently he's the only guy that does that. When you saw this movie, you've been sitting on it for about 6 days now. What was your rapid reaction, and what has changed since?
Number one, you just mentioned Null. He looks like trash.
He does not look good.
He looks terrible. And it's good that they only had him in roughly 3 scenes. We didn't need any more, and I'm not even sure. Like, what? There's no bad guys in this movie. It's just these alien dog creatures. It's a faceless bad guy that it's just fodder, and it can't be destroyed, and it's just constant blasting and whatever. It felt a lot like when you're watching the action in Black Adam, and you knew that nothing could hurt any of those heroes. That's what all of the fights were like in this movie between the Venoms and the alien dog creatures.
Yeah, but the alien dog creatures had that wood chipper in the back of its head that could hurt the Venoms.
Right, but did it?
You got a couple of them, I think. Pretty sure.
Were they any Venoms that we actually cared about?
No, not really. And
there were a bunch of other Venoms.
And you and I don't know enough about the Venoms to speak on whether they're meaningful or not. We'll get into that more later. In regards to Null, so apparently in the Marvel comic book universe, Null operates in the Void. And we've seen the Void now. We saw it in Deadpool and Wolverine. In this instance, he is stuck in this world or prison known as Clintar, and he's stuck there by the symbiotes, and that's sort of the whole impetus for the plot of this movie. And like, that's okay, but that thing we've seen 1,000 times over in every Marvel and DC movie too. Like, big bad Off-World sends his shitty fucking attackers to Earth to try to do the dirty work, and then they're gonna have to come and do it themselves. We've seen that way too many times. To refresh people's memories here for this movie, of course, we saw Riot in the first movie. He was the big bad at the end of that. Carnage in the second. And these movies, all 3, take place roughly over 1 year. That alien dog race that Goo and I were talking about is called xenophages, I guess. We just ripping off xenomorphs all the time now.
Credit to this movie, Venom didn't just fight another pile of splooge.
Okay, true. They really swerved us here.
Kind of.
And again, essentially the premise of this movie is that Null is trapped in this prison, and in order to escape this imprisonment, he needs to find a codex. And the only places you can find a codex is in the bodies of a symbiote that has become one with its host. And that only happens when the host dies and the symbiote saves it, fusing their souls. So, aka Eddie and Venom have a codex. These alien dog races come after them after Null dispatches them. But this brings into question everything about Null, because if he can just pop open a portal with the snap of a finger, he really should be able to get out of that prison, right?
Yeah.
A spell on him?
No, a lot of like the I don't want to get into like the spoilers. We can talk about that in a second at the end, mid post credits, but like just the end of the movie, the end of that character is just so stupid. Because also, Like, what are the plans for this universe? Are we just gonna
Right.
leave it at this and I guess Null's gonna take over type of stuff?
I don't know. It's a great question. We're also operating in this movie with Area 51. It's being decommissioned, but they introduced something else, Area 55, which is
Mhm.
alive and well, and like 100 feet below Area 51. So that's a thing as well.
I
Um,
prefer, Area 65 where Eiffel reigns supreme.
yes, that was the joke didn't make any sense, but I understood what you were going for.
If you take what I just said,
Yeah,
chop it up a little bit, and mix the words around, it kind of makes
there's
sense.
something there. There's
Yeah, yeah.
something.
I'm gonna
Well,
workshop it for a while. You can talk for the next half hour.
would you like to get into the octagon here, Gil?
Yeah, Nonagon. I'm thinking that we cut some of these soon because some of them are a
We only
little.
have 8 we only have 8 listed here, so you cut something.
Uh-oh. No, hot dogs.
Nope,
Uh-oh. Nope. You're right. Maybe I'll think of it on the fly. Fun factor, and I think you and I had fun
I
with
figured it out.
different parts of this movie. I enjoyed the the alien and his buddy going across the country. I would have liked it if it was just them going from Mexico to New York and ending up at like the Statue of Liberty, going from city to city and doing it that way. But what we got was about 15 to 20 minutes of that, the hijinks, and then the rest of it is just this boring garbage Area 55 stuff.
Yeah, this movie's not that fun. It's
No.
not. However, the Eddie and Venom stuff is, like, inherently kinda fun, and you
Yes.
still obviously still get that in this movie. So, as not fun as this movie was, it was fun enough to, like, keep me somewhat locked in during the runtime. Like, I didn't hate myself at the end of this movie. Like, I wasn't smashing my head off the seat in front of me. Like, it was watchable.
Right. But I think as soon as we get into that final scene at Area 55, that is just stop. The entire movie stopped for me and it just went on forever.
Yeah, but I liked, all the powers being shown there.
I didn't
We'll get
really
to
like it
that
because
in
I
spoilers.
thought it was boring.
Well, you just don't have a good
I
imagination.
guess we'll do imagination. They show you everything. There's nothing for there's imagination. It's not like they're like if they cut to Juno on the sideline going, that one's green, and now they have claws.
She's narrating the final fight.
Right. The theater of the mind. I guess we'll do Borometer first. I was very bored in this.
I gotta be honest, I didn't find myself that bored. It's tied into I just think Tom Hardy is really good
Mhm.
always, and so I wasn't that bored. I'm not saying I had fun or and really enjoyed necessarily what was on screen. I just wasn't bored, if that makes
Put
sense.
that on the movie poster.
I
I
was
wasn't
distracted.
bored, comma, it's not like I had fun, but I
I was
wasn't bored.
distracted the whole movie one way or the other.
Okay. Let's go back to Satisfactor. And this is supposed to be the final of a trilogy. And they really went out of their way to try and make this satisfactory. And by the end of the movie, I was the opposite.
Yeah, there's really nothing to be satisfied
No,
about at the conclusion of this movie. And I I don't it's one of those things where at the end of this trilogy, we're sitting here thinking it's been 6 years, 6-year run. Venom came out in 2018.
Venom.
Did we really need to do this? Did we
No.
really need to
And
do
I
this?
think, you know what? Not to get polycharged here,
Okay.
but if either of the presidential candidates made it a rule, made it a law that you can't put mid and post credit scenes in there just to be silly, I would vote for them. Post credit and mid credits need to have a purpose again. It's
Well,
not funny. It's not
this
funny
is a bad
anymore.
movie to make that point with though. These are
Do,
both purposeful, whether you like where it's going or not.
were they truly purposeful?
Yeah, they
You
were.
got an I'll do it myself, and
Mhm.
you got
Come on, spoilers, man.
look, man, just put everything because also these were the longest credits in the world. These were I sat around for roughly 10 minutes waiting for the complete post credit.
Yeah.
I know who got Tom Hardy his coffee, and I'm very excited to know everyone's names. But I am so sick of the post credit stuff. Put it in the runtime.
Well, let's your 10 minutes to decompress and start taking notes in your notes app. That's really what I use it for.
No, you know what I did? I made fun of Juno and her stupid character. That's what I do with my 10 minutes.
All right. Started a tight 5 on Juno Temple.
Yeah.
Oh, my arm doesn't work. I hope I get
Yeah,
Venom.
let me see you get struck by lightning, see how you look
Let
afterwards.
me see you hold your brother's hand while being struck by lightning, and then he gets exploded, and then you have to live with the guilt and a dead arm. Oh, you know what? I bet you would love that. Constant strangers.
Could figure out an attachment there, you know. Probably wouldn't have a good grip.
Dead weight. Aquater Worlds. This is below Waterworld.
This is below Waterworld and below Aquaman.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's not as bad as Hellboy.
No, it's not. It's not.
I don't know.
It's not even as bad as the second movie.
I just think that this all felt so lazy, and like none of it really, like, at least with the second one, you had those like scenes of Eddie and Venom going out and causing chaos. This one you had a little bit of that, but it was pulled back. There wasn't as much.
That's true. That's true. But again, when you're your third movie in and you're still not able to use certain things because you're stuck in your own little corner of the universe, you're just like, what else are you gonna do besides introduce all these Venoms?
I also liked in the first scene or the second scene, I don't know how scenes work, but when Venom made a point of making a joke, cut out the multiverse shit. It's like, dude, we've done this joke in every movie the past 3 years. The exact same joke.
So you're saying in the Type 5 you have Juno Temple is funnier than that.
Well, yeah, she's got that dead arm. I just did that sweet stranger joke. You guys all heard my set, right? Pants 10 City. Excite Bike Mania. Did anything in this movie get you going?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Do you like this movie? I can't even tell. You keep talking it up and then like walking it back.
I was hoping for a little nudité from Juno Temple. Didn't get that.
You knew you weren't getting that.
I didn't necessarily know that. I figured.
And then Max, like, I wouldn't mind trimming her Christmas tree.
And then even I can get her one of those ornaments from Target.
Yeah.
No, there's really nothing to excite you in this one.
For a movie that you are so met on, you are just defending it nonstop.
I'm not defending it at all.
You are defending it like a madman. Halloween, I will never think of this movie ever again. I don't think I'll even think of this series ever again.
Yeah, it's a pretty forgettable movie, no doubt.
Like, the Venom movies are supposed to serve as a palate cleanser or like the one-off that isn't connected to anything else for the people that don't like the tie-in with the MCU and they don't like the running story of the 40 movies coming together. And this movie is just, it's not interesting.
I agree with you, but there is the possibility that
it's a part of Garfield or Tobey Maguire.
They introduced Null here, and maybe Null does matter at some point.
And yeah, because you heard that Null and other symbiotes might be a part of the Tom Holland 4 movie.
Yeah, there's all sorts of chatter and shit. But so in that respect, I guess it could become more significant than it is at the moment. But do we want it to? No.
I wouldn't mind if they actually renamed the Spider-Man movies Tom Holland instead. But then you can still let him be Spider-Man. It's just that now it's called Tom Holland. And it would let us know who Spider-Man is in the movie.
Yep, no doubt.
What else we got? Max Credit Union. Do you have credit for anyone? Besides the director. Actually, just give her.
I'll give her credit for the Debbie Does Dallas musical. Yeah. You know what? No, I'll save this for the next one. I won't give credit to this person. There's, other than Tom Hardy, there's no real credit to
How about
here.
Plemonade? When life gives you lemons or Plemons, Plemonade.
I think Reese Ifans kind of made Plemonade. His family and his character should have never been in this movie, but Reese Ifans kind of had fun, and I kind of had fun with him.
Did you like the line, aliens suck?
Because his whole life, he's been building towards this, and then he was like, fuck that. Oh, we got to swear in this movie.
Yeah.
We got a motherfucker in this movie.
I've always said to you, while I believe that aliens are real and everything that goes along with that, I never want to meet one. Never.
Oh, here's where I stand on the aliens thing. Clearly, aliens exist. I don't think we're ever gonna see an alien, but the universe is too large for aliens to not exist.
I
Uh, I
yeah.
could be further away on the ghost front. I don't
I
think
guess
ghosts
the
exist at all.
question now is, do you believe that there are already aliens among us?
No, absolutely not.
Maybe they are, posing as human beings or
Why would
other
aliens wanna live
animals.
on this planet?
Have you seen a platypus? Have you seen half of the creatures in Australia? They
The
might
only
be
thing
aliens.
the only thing this planet could possibly offer aliens is a litany of pornography. That's it. But would you wanna watch pornography of a species that's not yours?
I guess we can test it out.
Okay.
Do you believe in USOs as opposed to flying objects? They're submerged.
That's I'm not gonna rule it out. The ocean is vast.
There's a
The
lot of
ocean is
ocean.
vast. Yeah. As we've seen, though, you can only go so deep before a ship is gonna implode. So there's only so many hiding
Well, what
spots.
about alien technology?
You're right. You're right. But is alien technology? Well, so here's a question.
I'm
Here's a
here.
question for someone brighter than the both of us.
Yeah.
Is the vacuum and the pressures of space greater than or less than the
Mhm.
bottom of the ocean?
I would like one of our scientist listeners to please reach out to us.
Yeah. There's got to be an answer to that somewhere.
Is that all the things? I guess we're on hot dogs, huh?
We have reached the
We've
best
gotten
part of
the
the
hot
program
dogs.
here.
For
Yeah.
those of you tardy to the Mac and Goo party, we rate everything on a 40 hot dog rating scale. While I don't think this is the worst of the trilogy, I hate the second one. And I understand that the second one might have higher highs than this movie does, but Woody Harrelson in that movie is just an abomination to my eyes and ears. The end of the movie, too, I hated that, but the end of this movie's not good either. I enjoyed our 20 to 25 minutes of our buddy alien road trip. I would have loved an entire movie of that. We did not get that. I thought that every side character, every other starring character in this movie was completely useless and generic. The story in general was pretty useless and generic. It was let's look for a key. It happens to be in this character that they can hide the key if they do a certain thing, which by the end of the movie, the reason why they would still do this thing didn't even really make any sense at certain points. I didn't like how they got to the base. I didn't like anything at the base. I didn't like the enemy. I did not like the villain. 18 hot dogs.
Okay. All right. To give the folks some perspective here, some
You should have given
context.
me perspective before I just did my little thing.
Yeah, I was gonna, but you were
I was
vibing
hot.
there. You were
I
rolling.
you saw me turning the key and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah.
to give him a false
It's
start.
revving the engine here.
I didn't want to
Uh,
have a balk.
the first movie I gave 30, you gave 27. In
Okay.
our podcast for the second movie, you retconned your 27 to 23.
Makes sense.
I agree. It probably came down a couple for me. I'd probably be at 27 or 28 on the
I'd
first
probably
one.
say 24, 25, but go ahead. I'm very
Oh,
sorry.
okay. So
The
so
first
you've
one,
gone up
right?
one or two.
The
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
The second movie I gave 24 initially. You gave 18. I think you're probably spot on with the 18 on the second one. I've got to come down substantially from that second one. I just the more I think, the more I've thought about the second one in the years past, just really didn't enjoy it.
You know what
And
though? I think
giving it 24, I didn't enjoy it in the first
the
place.
first one deserves more credit now, seeing what we've gotten with the last two movies,
I agree.
that was the best case scenario.
I totally agree. Um, this movie, Goo, I gotta say, as not good as this movie is, it didn't feel like a task to watch, and I think that's exclusively because of Hardy. Um, I do like the number of like power sets and symbiotes we see in this movie. Guess that's cool. However, once again, I
You're
simply
so
do not.
middling on all of your praise. I
I do
guess
not.
that's cool.
I don't understand the whole null imprisonment thing. Like again, that makes no sense to me. If he can create these portals, I don't think he
Do you
should
think
be
he
able
was
to be
fake
held
in
there.
jail? Like he wasn't even tied up?
Yeah, I don't really get it.
Like, guys, I can't get up, and then he scratches his head.
Um, the conversation with the little kid in the van is possibly the worst scene in any movie this year. That was really fucking bad. That was terrible. Really incredibly stupid. Uh, yeah, kid, aliens aren't real. And then the kid just lays down on this fucking stranger he
Well, it's
met
to
4 hours
prove to
ago.
him that he could be a good dad.
Again, I'll echo the sentiment about this not being R. That hurts it. that family being added in general is so fucking stupid. And this is always one of our major complaints with movies, these kaiju movies or these big monster movies. We don't need bullshit families added strictly to give us some like emotional attachment. No one wants it. No one asks for it. It does not make the movie better. It's dumb. Dude, this movie feels like a really poor version of the 2007 Transformers movie. Like a lot of the same notes are hit. You're dealing with a lot of the same themes. However, that was 2007 and it had 2007 Megan Fox. 17 years later, that movie, especially without Megan Fox, does not hit, does not work. And like, there's also nothing in here to like invoke the satisfying stuff that's in a movie like Transformers or the nostalgia or anything like that to prey upon. There's nothing like that in here. So I have this at 21 hot dogs. It's my number 26 movie on the year. I think I've seen 32. So again, there are definitively worse movies so far this year for me. But again, it's not good. It just lacks a punch. But it also could have been a lot worse. So I'm going back and forth. This could have been a lot worse. It lacks a punch. I didn't hate myself for watching this movie. That's my thoughts on this movie.
Yeah, when you say it lacks a punch, it feels toothless, right? And that's for a Venom that he's got teeth.
Lots
you
of teeth.
See his teeth.
Yeah.
Although I will say this one thing though is that Venom throughout these three movies looks great.
Saturday through Sunday, Monday.
There it is. That's my compliment. Venom looks good in this. Once again.
How about that?
I have this movie bottom 8 on the year.
Yeah, it's bottom 7 for me. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I saw recently?
What?
Trap.
Did you like it?
It never ends.
I almost started it the other day, actually.
I think that because you really like, movies following like how life is supposed to be, like the technicalities, especially with like police
realism
work, FBI and all that. This movie is so ridiculous when it comes to
God. That. Damn it.
I would argue that Josh Hartnett would have been found within the first 3 minutes.
Oh, well, now I got to watch it.
Okay.
Now I have to watch it.
Like it's just going to upset you.
Yeah. How many movies are you up to, by the way?
32.
So we both got 32. I would like to get to 50 once again. I think I should be able to get there by the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't know what's coming out for the rest of the year, but we'll figure it out.
There is a handful that I have been meaning to watch over the last couple of months, though. So I should get to 40 with these. Anyways.
But you can put this on the Trap poster. Carrot sign facing over Garfield.
Okay. 2 movies I haven't seen.
So M. Night Shyamalan, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Spoiler alert. So at the end of this movie, the big grand conclusion, Venom sacrifices himself. The symbiote Venom, in order to destroy the Codex and all these xenophages, he like consumes them all and kills himself with acid.
That sentence that you just said, if you didn't understand what was going on, you would think that you are a fucking lunatic.
How did you feel about the emotional moment between Eddie and Venom at the end there?
0.
It was okay.
0.
Okay.
I'll ask you because you're, more into fire and whatnot.
Sure.
If you're just covered by a door, and that's obviously it's a very protective door, but would Eddie survive that?
Yeah, I think he could survive.
Okay.
I think he could survive. I think he'd be like severely concussed and like pretty injured, but
I would argue that he's always severely concussed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And he is hospitalized, so I don't know. Yeah,
I guess if you have one concussion, but you just keep getting concussions during that concussion, does it count as one concussion?
Yeah, because it never really ends. I think it's kind
of like pooping, right?
It's exactly like that.
If you don't get up, it's one poop.
It is exactly like that.
I thought that the Keeley storyline, Juno Templ is the scientist from the get-go.
She's Keeley and Ted Lasso.
Either way, but from the first scene with her, I was like, what are we doing? What is this scene in the Venom movie of these children running on the beach? One kid is struck by lightning. The other one's got a dead arm.
It was a nightmare.
It wasn't a nightmare. It actually happened.
Yeah, but I guess it's a memory.
But then that scene then rolls on into her going to Area 51, to Area 55. And that scene was so long. And they kept on flashing back and showing us more stuff. Like, why should we care about this character? And then that she is either going to be a bad guy by the end, or she's going to cure her arm with Venom.
Yeah, she becomes Agony in her sweet fucking purplish pink suit there with the hair.
What do you think about that?
Didn't make a move, but I
I was going to ask
appreciate
you,
it
do you think that's the most attractive Venom?
for sure, easily, by far.
Okay.
Goo, I raise you Juno Temple with the Christmas tree lady. This fucking lady's character makes absolutely no sense. The first 2/3 of the movie, the way she's acting, so the way she's been written and directed, is implying they're making it seem like she may kill Venom or Eddie to destroy the Codex and save the world. What does she do instead? The complete fucking opposite.
Who is
I,
she?
like
John Kerry?
she takes the Venom and saves Eddie with like that was so bad. That
Once
was
she
the
got a
worst thing in this
taste
movie.
of that
That
sweet,
character.
sweet Venom, she just needed more.
That character was the worst character in the movie. It was fucking terrible.
I wish she morphed into like an
Christmas tree
actual Christmas tree.
fucking Christmas tree shop just didn't work for me.
But to be fair, though, Army General guy, also terrible. All three
He's
of those
fine. No,
characters
Strickland
were
was fine.
so boring and
Boring, yes.
but
Yeah.
and so the scenes that Venom weren't in, and I'm not even saying those scenes are great,
Mhm.
but the scenes that Venom and Eddie are not in are unwatchable.
So speaking of those symbiotes in that final battle,
Yeah.
Mulligan. So at the end of the first or the second movie, he fuses with Toxin, which is Carnage's kid. But Toxin is traditionally like red, like Carnage's, I think, and he's like teal in this. I don't know if it's a new one or not, but maybe Toxin. Juno Temple becomes Agony, fuses with Agony. The Christmas tree lady gets with Lasher. Lasher's that symbiote supposedly. All the other ones are not 100%. At least the internet hasn't figured it out 100%. We maybe saw Phage, maybe saw Scorn. We got that hybrid one. Scream might be the fiery one. I didn't really understand any of them. Some of them looked cool, some of them didn't. The biggest miss here is in the comics, Goo, General Strickland, Rex Strickland, becomes a T-Rex symbiote in the comics, and we didn't get that in this.
So that's ridiculous. And then they showed us all of the animal Venoms in the commercial, and you're like, okay, there's going to be a bunch in here. No, that's all of them, which then reminds me of Multiverse of Madness, where there's a couple multiverses, but we're lacking the madness.
Okay, no, hold the phone, Goo. We're comparing a movie that promised multiversal madness to a movie that had 30 seconds of a Venom horse, a Venom fish, and a Venom frog.
A movie that promised us Venom going into animals.
It didn't promise us any of that. We just happened to see it. I think the major thing in this movie that makes no sense is we see this dude in a circular room who has all these screens, all this technology, and General Strickland can communicate with him, does communicate with him. This guy's in charge of General Strickland. He apparently runs this Imperium program. We just never, ever get any resolution or reveal with that character. He's just there. He exists. They don't go back to him. There's no mention of him. It's really fucking bizarre.
Do you think he's in Wes Craven the Hunter?
I just don't understand. Obviously, I'm sure this movie had some reshoots, or maybe there was something planned that they had the nix, or maybe they're just setting him up for the future. New Rockstars posited that this character could be Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative. And if you don't know Mr. Negative, he's the villain in the first Spider-Man game, which he's great. Yeah. Relatively new villain, but awesome in that game. And once I had that in my head, I was like, you know what? He could be. He might be. We'll never know. We'll never have any idea if that's the case.
Well, what if he's in the next Spider-Man movie? That's the thing, is that all these characters have the possibility of being in the next actual Spider-Man movie.
I suppose that could all be true.
Also, Craven the Hunter.
I don't know if we're going to see any of these folks in Craven.
He's a lion boy,
which is the next movie up in this supposed universe. The mid-credit scene here.
Yeah.
Null is free somehow. The movie is set up, and the whole point of the movie is that he needs a codex to be freed.
And the codex is destroyed.
The whole fucking point of the movie. And then apparently he's free because, quote unquote, your champion has fallen. Your planets will be mine. The king in black is awake. I will kill your world. Everyone will burn and you will watch. Hold the phone. Once again, holding two phones now. You don't have a codex. You're not free, motherfucker. You're still trapped. It's not true.
Well, maybe he had his fingers crossed behind his back because he wasn't jailed. He was just
Yeah.
sitting in a chair
So maybe
and didn't
that.
want to do the work.
He was just charging his phone. He had to wait till it was done before he could leave. The post credit here is Danny Rojas' character emerges from the bunker, Area 55, Area 51 area. And then we see a cockroach, which they, of course, referenced earlier, approaching that little symbiote vial that was used by Juno Temple earlier in the
Yes.
movie. And there's still a little spark there. So there's still some symbiotic material on planet Earth.
Just put it in the fucking movie. Don't make me sit through 10 minutes of post credits for this or just regular credits for the post credit. I'm done. I've had enough of the post credits. It's too
So
much.
I guess there's still symbiotes on Earth. Maybe Mr. Negative's in play. Maybe Null's in play. Going forward, surprisingly, this universe isn't dead. Of course, we're still getting Spider-Man stuff, but the Sony verse somehow still isn't dead. It may be. It may be very soon, but it's not dead yet.
How much money do you think this movie needs to make for there to possibly be a fourth Venom movie? Maybe not within 3 years, but 5 or 6 years.
I don't think we're getting another Venom movie. I think we could see Venom in other stuff. I don't think we're getting another Venom movie.
I agree. I think that the only way that we get Venom back, though, is if he's in a Spider-Man movie, not in another Sony Pictures association with Marvel.
Yeah, and it's also they've also gotten to the point if they're going to pursue Venom in this universe, he's kind of a good guy now, so you can't have him do the Spider-Man stuff.
He's barely been an anti-hero. Like he killed a couple people.
Just killing bad dudes. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all he's doing.
So we're rooting for him.
Yeah. So you can't put him up against Tom Holland because we're also going to root for this character.
I guess we'll have a new Spider-Man in 3 or 4 years, and then we can watch him with him.
Yeah, I guess so.
I have no other thoughts on this movie.
Yeah, same.
This was a real, and what sucks is that like when you go to a movie that you want to turn your brain off and just watch, you want it to be more entertaining than what we just saw.
I totally agree on that front. Yes, it lacks entertainment. It lacks a punch.
You made a great. You know what? Good job, Transformers.
Yeah,
the first Transformers, a perfect turn your brain off. Don't think. Here is this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what this was.
No, it's. I think it tried to do a lot of that, and it didn't get there. So to summarize, again, first Venom movie, I'd probably give like 28 currently. Second one, I think I had to come all the way down to like 18. I think you were right about that. This one, I'd give about 21. So I'd rank them 1, 3, 2.
Let's get into Maxac.
And Maxac could be anything. It could be a boat. And Max, since we are doing our dump at the end of the week, or maybe we're doing something else, we'll talk about that in 1 second. But I will point out that we just got our 6th episode of The Penguin on HBO Max.
Can confirm.
And we are just trucking along.
Pinguino Minuto.
Mamma mia.
Kristen Milioti.
Yeah.
She is Sylvia Gigante now.
Yes.
Formerly Falcone. She has fully teamed up with, what's his face there? Clancy Brown. And
Marone.
They're coming after Oz.
I saw a great tweet earlier. It was the still of Marone teaching her how to make that soup. And someone captioned it, Marone teaching her how to make a Krabby Patty. And I had a good laugh at that because it's really stupid.
Good, solid little cliffhanger at the end of this episode. They're coming after Oz. They're coming after Oz's mommy.
Mm-hmm.
Great Victor episode. And we don't really want to spoil things. There is 2 episodes left, so catch up if you. Oh, good God! Catch up. You got time. Someone on the internet made a point.
Yes.
Isn't Bruce Wayne's Batcave connected to these tunnels that the Penguin is now utilizing?
That's a good point. And maybe the final episode in a post-credit, someone stumbles in there. I wouldn't be surprised, just picking up on the conversation that Oz Cobb's mom has been tossing out at us.
It's fun to say, Oz Cobb's mom.
She might commit suicide. And she might not even give them the satisfaction because she also wants her son to take that next step and kind of forget about her anyways.
I think there's gonna have to be conflict between Victor and Oz. and I think something's gonna happen to his mom that he blames on
Yeah,
Victor.
we got a little bit of that in there because Victor was lying to the mom about the brothers.
Yes. Yeah, so they're kinda setting that up. I really, really loved the scene between Sophia and Oz's lady friend there. Her name escapes me. That was a great scene.
Very good scene. I mean, this show is top notch.
Yeah. I have to fully admit, though, it doesn't, like, we still need a really high at some point in the show. I guess we don't need it, but for it to really
We've had some high highs with Sophia, though.
no, for it to really, like, stick out all time, we're gonna need a gigantic finish.
You didn't like that scene where she was putting her clothes back on and then she untied the fella who had his pants off?
Once again, 2 weeks in a row, I've been jealous of someone being tied up by Sophia. I've been thinking about that red dress from 2 episodes ago. Or sorry, yellow dress from 2 episodes ago all week, 1 week long.
So we have 2 more episodes of that, and we also have 2 more episodes of Who Hit You, Woman?
All along. Boom.
This last episode pushed me over the edge of just
Really?
I don't care. I don't
Oh,
like, so
I disagree. I am enjoying it.
I like Agatha. I
Mhm.
liked her really much as a side character, and
Mhm, mhm,
they've
mhm.
almost made her a side character to these really boring witches, and I don't care for witches, although I will say the reveal at the end was a decent reveal, and it opens up a lot of possibilities, not necessarily with this show, but Marvel in general.
Totally agree. I'm very excited, hopefully, for that character to pop up in things going forward. And I'm actually glad that Agatha is kind of a side character because she shouldn't be a main character. So where they're going with the story, I enjoy. I like it
Do
quite a
you
bit.
like the other characters besides
I
Billy?
like Billy. I
Yeah, you
like
like
Billy.
Billy. Billy was
Yeah.
barely in this last
I like
episode.
Billy, and I like the reveal at the end of the last episode.
I stayed awake for this last one, though.
All right. So what are we 4 for 6 now?
How many episodes? No, there's been 7 episodes.
Oh, so 5 of 7 you've had a
Yeah,
snooze?
but I've stayed awake for 2.
All right. So hey, we're on the up and up.
I haven't fallen asleep during Penguin, so which is also released late at night, almost midnight,
You're watching it every Sunday night?
every Sunday night.
Oh God, no! I got just too much football to watch.
And when I say midnight, I mean 9 o'clock feels like midnight to me.
Sure, I get that. No, I'm busy watching football on Sunday. I can't.
Sunday
I
night
can't do it.
football. I just watched 8 hours of football.
I had a matchup coming down to CeeDee Lamb last night. I had CeeDee Lamb. He crushed it. Banger.
So now, I don't do year-long football. I do DraftKings.
I got one league. I got one league.
I do DraftKings during the afternoon. My games are over at 7:30, and then I just close my eyes.
I've had an awful DraftKings season.
I've had a bad DraftKings season, and yesterday I had a day for myself with all of my parlays because everything was linked to Drake May.
Fun. Gambling's fun.
You know what I did is as soon as he walked off the field, cleaned my attic. I turned my TV off and I cleaned my attic.
Yeah, you had nothing left to watch.
I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to watch any more of this.
Yeah, just feel.
So, all right. Where can the people find us?
You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram at Mac and Goo Podcast. Every other platform, we're Mac ampersand Goo. It's Mac Shift 7 Goo. That includes Facebook, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify, but more importantly, we're on Apple Podcasts. Get on there, rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars. If you do that, we'll get you a free Mac and Goo t-shirt from the folks over at Watertown Sportswear. Watertown Sportswear at 34 Maude Auburn Street in Watertown. WatertownSportswear.com. Expert screen printing and embroidery.
tpublic.com. Check us out at the end of the week. So I guess if we both finish Agatha, we should do that at the end of the week.
Okay. All right.
If we don't, we'll do a dump.
Yeah, we could do that. I do enjoy doing the dumps for the Monday coming off the weekend.
I do too.
But if you don't finish Agatha, we can push it.
I'll power through it. I'll do it.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna finish it. It's just,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, you, bro.
I'm sorry. All right, so we'll do that then.
I-
Tuesdays. What?
Are you not? Clearly, I think there's gonna be like a pretty big reveal. Well, maybe we already had one, but I feel like this 2-episode finale. By the way, it's a 2-episode finale this week for anyone listening. I think we're gonna get like a pretty cool reveal. No,
I have a sneaking suspicion that the finale of this show is going to be people throwing lights at each other. That's usually what ends up happening.
Magic. That's magic, baby.
That's magic. You know.
I got the magic stick.
How many songs about magic can we do? Those are the only two I know.
That's really too. Yeah, I actually only had magic stick until you sang that one.
There's definitely more songs. Oh, give me a
Magic
second.
106.7.
Songs about magic.
Ooh, witchy woman. There you
There's
go.
Magic Carpet Ride.
Oh, yep.
You Can Do Magic by
Sure.
View from the Ground. Black Magic Woman.
Oh, great one. Great
That's
tune.
a great one. Puff the Magic Dragon, which I found out it's about smoking marijuana.
Come on.
A Kind of Magic.
By who?
A Kind of Magic. It's their titular song.
Okay.
Abracadabra by Abracadabra.
All right.
You don't know that song? Abracadabra. Wait, no, that's the Steve Miller Band.
Are we talking Pokemon now?
Get in my bag, bruh. That's all I
Steve
got.
Miller Band. Not bad. Pretty good.
Magic
Pretty good
Stick,
band.
Magic Bus, Strange Magic. Do You Believe in Magic? All the Magic. This Magic Moment. We know that one. Love Potion number 9.
Okay. All right. So it's not listing witchy woman, though. It's about witches.
It's about witches, though. Oh, how about Rhiannon from
Who sings
Fleetwood
witchy
Mac?
woman? Ooh, witchy woman.
No, so hold up. So you like Fleetwood Mac.
Love Fleetwood Mac.
It's telling me here that Rhiannon is about magic.
Rhiannon.
Same thing.
That would be yeah, maybe it is. I don't know.
All right.
Oh, the Eagles sing witchy woman. Come on.
Come on, Mac. You like music, don't you?
I saw the Eagles, but
Did you really?
Glenn Fry was already dead, so it was his son instead.
Jeff?
Former Red Sox great. Former Red Sox and Blue Jay great. And Phillies, baby. Rangers.
He hit for the cycle for the Blue Jays, so. Or no, was that with the Sox? No! You know what happened? He hit a home run, triple-double in his final at-bat. Could have hit a single, but instead went for 2.
I mean, that's the thing you should do. Yeah.
No, you want a meaningless cycle. You want that Brock Holt status.
Yeah, of course.
All right, whatever. Tuesdays are goose days. I abuse kangaroos.
Bye.
Tim Burton.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.
Now it's time for girls jumping on trampolines.